CHAPTER 13 of the Tale of Benny Badger. Recording is in the public domain. The Tale of Benny Badger by Arthur Scott Bailey. Chapter 13. Don't Do That. Benny Badger turned in his tracks and went straight back to the place where he had left Mr. Fox. But Mr. Fox was nowhere to be seen. So Benny began asking everybody he met if he had caught a glimpse of Mr. Fox that night. First he asked a white-footed deer mouse, who pointed behind him and said that he had just seen Mr. Fox over there. Then Benny put his question to a frightened prairie dog, who claimed that he had noticed Mr. Fox over there, as he pointed in a direction exactly opposite. And still another reported that he had noticed Mr. Fox in an entirely different place. "That's odd," Benny Badger said to himself. "How can he be in three places at once?" And since he could not answer that question, he decided to look in none of those three directions, but to try a fourth, because he felt sure that none of the three could be the right one. And besides, if Mr. Fox had really been where he was said to have been seen, he was such a roving fellow that he would have moved on. Well, where he looked next, Benny found Mr. Fox. "What luck?" Benny asked that wily gentleman once more. Mr. Fox replied somewhat stiffly that he had nothing to say. "What's that on your mouth?" Benny Badger demanded suddenly. Mr. Fox hastily rubbed his paw across his mouth. "It can't be egg," he blurted. "Egg!" Benny Badger shouted. "I hadn't mentioned egg. But now that you mention egg, perhaps that's it." Mr. Fox looked most ill at ease, but he made no reply. "What's that clinging to your shoulder?" asked Benny Badger abruptly. "It can't be a feather," said Mr. Fox, nervously brushing off his shoulder as he spoke. "A feather!" Benny Badger exclaimed. "I've said nothing about a feather. But now that you speak of it, Mr. Fox, perhaps that's it." Mr. Fox looked very, very uncomfortable, and he murmured something about having to be on his way. "Wait a moment," said Benny, as Mr. Fox turned aside. "What's that on the back of your neck?" Mr. Fox tried in vain to look at the back of his own neck. "It can't be," he began. But before he could finish, Benny Badger interrupted him. "Yes, it is!" he cried. "It's my teeth!" And so saying, he seized Mr. Fox on the back of his neck and began to drag him over the grass. It became clear at once that Mr. Fox did not enjoy the sport. "Don't do that, friend!" he begged. "What are you trying to do, anyhow?" "I'm trying to rub the egg off your mouth," Benny Badger explained. "Please don't trouble yourself," said Mr. Fox. Then Benny began to shake him. "Don't do that, friend," said Mr. Fox again. "What are you trying to do?" "I'm only trying to shake the feather off you," Benny told him. "Don't trouble yourself," said Mr. Fox. "If you'll take those teeth off my neck, that's all I ask of you." "Not yet!" Benny Badger replied grimly. "You're a robber, and I'm only going to teach you a lesson. You will rob birds' nests, will you?" To his great surprise, Mr. Fox began to laugh. "Why, you'd rob them yourself if you weren't so clumsy!" he cried. "You're really no better than I am." Benny Badger hadn't thought of that. And the idea surprised him so much that his mouth fell open. And of course Mr. Fox at once leaped aside and ran off. Chapter 14